Three, two, one. Welcome to Towerhand Happy Hour, episode 9, which is actually 10. I counted 9.
Doesn't matter anymore, does it?
Doesn't matter anymore. How's it going, Boone?
Oh, it's going, man. It's going.
Yeah?
It's going. Yeah.
You,
Yep.
How the kids?
Oh, they're good. They're good.
You
Hey,
ever imagine this? You ever imagine that having kids like this, working on the road, at least ones that you knew? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
oh man. Oh God, I hope not. But hey, I know we were gonna talk about a certain subject, and I kind of want to change that up a little bit today. I had some things happen the past couple weeks with people getting to me and asking questions and looking at insight on other things that I still don't have all the knowledge on. But I wanted to talk about. It's kind of like I feel like we're beating a dead horse a little bit because we talk about safety and training and stuff like that. But the thing is, people, I see this all the time on these Facebook pages for Tower Climbers of America or whatever out there, and you always see it that they rant and rave and bitch and moan and fuck this is fucking stupid. What the fuck do I gotta do this?
What a terrible website.
Oh God, oh yeah. And you click on the person who made that post or whatever, you click on their Facebook page and you see everything they've commented on or posted in these pages. And you're like, hello, fucking kettle. How are you not dead, or how are you not fired, or hope you didn't reproduce. That's all I can fucking say.
I've heard
9
guys,
times out of 10, you look at the fucking kid, you're like, oh yeah, he's got like fucking 9 kids out there.
I've heard of guys carrying in companies, I should say. I've heard of companies, and I think we're one of them. I don't know. That carry like a little black book.
I have one,
and I think it's basically a do not hire. And it was that. I believe you were talking to me about that, but
yeah.
I've heard it now. I've heard it now a few times that the guys are carrying around a do not hire list on these guys. Is that true?
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. Because all these like big companies or like major carriers have social media people, and all they do is monitor social media posts.
We do too.
Exactly. Get some insight on that. What happens, or what's the procedure for? Obviously it's in your handbook, but what the procedure is for violation of the social media stuff. Some of this stuff is crazy.
I shouldn't say that. A company I know very, very well. We'll just say number one safety. I'm sorry. Number one company violation is social media. Number 2 is a safety violation. I don't know what I feel about that. I always thought safety was number 1.
Training should be number 1.
But I understand.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling to me. And then you see all these new guys that are trying to get into the industry, and they see all this, stuff. Like every time I did all this training I did for all these companies, I always told the new people, stay off those fucking pages. They're nothing but toxic. You could be the safest dude, take a picture, and everything in that picture is completely to standard.
No, you will find it.
And some jackass like, oh, look at this fucking faggot right here. He's fucking got his blah blah blah. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, what the hell? And that's part of the cancer that's in this industry. And it's kind of like the last couple of deaths we've had. Last 2 deaths we've had in this industry so far this year. One of them was very, very, knowledgeable, owned a company. And he, from what we don't know the full story so far. We're still waiting on, everything else to come back. But it was neglect. And then the second one, the kid's so damn young. He's obviously very impressionable. And he probably just listened to whatever the old timer said. He's like, oh, fuck that, listen, Like I've been told throughout my career, you cannot transition from a man basket or like a JLG or a man basket on a crane to a tower. I've been told that 100 times. But have we always done it? Yes.
Well, I was gonna say
Yeah.
we've all done it.
We've all done it. But you know, it's this shit that, you know, there's guys that aren't even in this industry anymore, and I see them commenting on these pages, you know, like run, or they say some smart ass shit like that. I'm like, if you're not gonna help or try to be positive, get the fuck out. There's enough negativity in this industry. You know, everyone thinks it's the biggest, baddest fucking climber in the world, but they've been climbing for 20 fucking years and they've never went past top hand. That guy, I'm not gonna fucking trust anything. That dude is a fucking degenerate in my eyes. Or he is just so technology, you know, that's where he's comfortable with and that's where he likes to be. I have no problem with that. But we see a lot of these guys now that they bounce from company to company. You look at a guy's resume. You see 15 companies in 4 or 5 years, or 7, 8 years. And he's been with, you know, he went through a spurt for 3 years, or he was with how many companies he left every 7 months, 8 months, 3 months here, you know. He jumps ship for 50 cents. It's or he fucks up, gets a safety violation. So he jumps to another company because that shit doesn't follow him. And that's on us too. That's on us as a, you know, employers and people who are in management that hire people.
So what do you do
by not vetting these people? And that's what
so
fucking pisses me off.
So what do you do? Oh, you're talking finding out who these people really are.
Yeah, you know, like,
well, it's easy to do now. You know, if you don't know, they'll let you know.
It's like, you know, we had this back in the day. I think you met the guy. I don't know if you did or not. He had like 10, 15 years, he said, in the industry. And you get him on site, you know, he rigs the tower all fucked up. Can't tie a knot. Dude, the list went on and on and on. And I finally called him out. And I was like a tech 2 or whatever. It was a long time ago. And the guy's like, "What are you trying to question my knowledge?" I'm like, "I'm definitely questioning your knowledge right now. Definitely." And sure shit, he ended up getting fired like a month later, not even that. Because yeah, he's fucking worthless. These fucking people, you know, we see these photos of on these pages all the time, that the shitty work that's done, you know. And some of these fucking crews actually take photos of themselves on the tower as they're installing the shitty work. You know,
even taking a picture of themselves and their girl on the tower.
Yeah, that fucking picture. Oh my god, I saw that resurface again not too long ago. Fucking hell, dude. Yeah, you know, it's just, it just irritates the piss out of me. It's fucking, it's not that fucking hard to shut up and fucking listen and put your ego aside for a minute. Open your fucking ears a little bit and listen. You know, I'm sorry I'm swearing and cussing a lot, but it's time to just cut the shit and deal with it.
Well,
well,
fortunately, there wasn't a lot of social media when, or not as easy to post stuff as it is now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people getting busted over stuff like that. There's a lot of, I remember for a while there was a lot of safety managers that didn't even have to leave their desk because their guys would show them the violations.
Oh yeah.
But not, well, and now you look at this. Who's the one that's got the on-site cameras? Jacobson.
Jacob. Yeah.
Jacobson, on-site cameras. I mean, you know, we've threatened it. I don't mean we, but I mean the industry's threatened it. It's been threatened over and over. Now, I think I worked for one of the first companies that ever did that. We had to park our trucks within so close to the tower, and I believe we had a McCormick GPS or something. But anyway, you could see the guys semi real time, and you could kind of zoom in. It wasn't that great a technology. But now Jacobson's got these cameras, and I don't care if I can say their name or not. It doesn't matter to me right now.
I
But
applaud him for it.
well, but
It's and people think it's bullshit. And
well,
I think it's bullshit. I think it's
want,
bullshit that companies have to do that
well, that's what I was
to
going to say.
keep other companies honest.
That's what I was going to say is you know, the things that have caused this have been safety violations and these several people that don't send in their daily updates. When you don't send in your daily updates, they'll get them. You know,
Oh.
they'll get them. They'll get them themselves. They'll see.
Oh, I had a crew that we subbed, and they're working for us, and they're like, yeah, we're on site. But then I see their Facebook post they had like an hour ago. They're at some fucking like zoo or eating lunch with the family and shit. And then they send me an invoice for, oh, it took us 12 hours today, but we didn't get everything done. We'll finish up in the morning. And I'm like, you were there the whole time. And they're like, yeah, we were. So one time I went out there and drove out there. I'm like, hey, where you guys at? We're on the tower. Oh, yeah. What site? Oh, what's the ID on that? Rick, I'll do. Oh, yeah. We're here. Yeah, we're here. I'm like, well, that's weird. I'm here.
Yeah. I think.
And then they made every fucking excuse. Oh, we're up the other tower. We're up the other tower. It's like an hour and a half down the road.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who've been busted for that. There's a lot of people that took advantage of that day rate. I mean, there's no reason
Exactly, that's what
why
they're
there's no
doing.
reason why a $50,000 site should pay $96,000.
Dude, these guys were doing fucking like maintenance. And thank God we jacked their pay rate way down, like under what we usually pay. Just we knew they're kind of shady. Sure shit, they proved it to us. They wanted like $5,000 for 3 sites that were for maintenance. I sent one of our crews out there. We did the same shit on taller towers, pretty much identical, and got it done in a day. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are y'all? It's, well, you know, there's variables. I'm like, yeah, I understand there's variables, but not another, 2 days worth of work.
Well, but if you don't get your dailies in, if you don't,
they were doing all that stuff though. But they were fucking up because they're such social media geeks that every tower they're on, they have to post a photo of it, trying to build their marketing up. They don't do his fucking personal page. He's out with his fucking everybody else, messing around some landmark or eating dinner or eating lunch, but they're supposed to be on site.
well, I'm not saying I'm just saying that we've had problems with every one of our crews getting dailies in, and as a CM, I've had problems getting my dailies in, the dailies from the crews. I mean, Jacobson, like you said, I kind of applaud him. It's just too bad it's gotten to that point.
Mm-hmm.
It's too bad it's gotten to that point because now you're gonna get guys that are pinched for even smoking on site. You're gonna get guys who are pinched for chewing on site. You accidentally drop garbage on a site, the camera's going to catch it, it's going to pick it up. And what happens if you drop something and damage that camera? You're going to get hosed for the damage of the camera and hosed because the camera couldn't pick you up all day. So now you got a truck roll. Now you're thrown off site. Now you're fined, and you'd be lucky if you can even continue ever working on that project again.
I wonder how that works though. Like, because I know me and you both like Nebraska, like 300-foot tower, and that low lying fog or haze, fog after 150 feet, 200 feet, you can't see shit. So that camera obviously doesn't pick you up unless it's infrared and all the other crap.
I doubt it does, but this is just the beginning. And what's next?
Yeah. And I'm no saint. I suck at doing updates sometimes. We get down off the tower late, and I just wanted to go home and chill out. And I didn't do my update till the morning. So I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm far from it. None of us are perfect in this industry. The problem is you pick your battles, and you understand what makes you money and what doesn't, what keeps you alive. It's
Well, I guess where I'm going with this is with the camera on site, the crew is now getting picked up. Whether they hung the hybrid, whether they have all the antennas up, whether they have whatever, the CM is going to get his updates. He's going to have his updates. He's going to see where the crew's at. And one, two things, either you no longer have to provide updates, which I'll never buy, or number two, you better hope your updates are consistent with what's left on the ground. Otherwise, you're in a lot of trouble. So,
do you really think they do on every site the camera though? I guess I don't know.
I've heard they're on
every
a lot of their
site.
sites. I've heard not I don't know, but I can only imagine that if it's like us, when you show up at the warehouse to get equipment, the CM's already done the pre-con site walk. The crew is going to start on April 6th. CM will be out there with the equipment, do his pre-con or his face to face with the crew, and he'll lay the equipment down, and he'll give them the law of the land. That's how I see it.
Yeah, whatever it takes, I guess. And the way this industry is nowadays, they're weeding out the smaller companies. The subs, the small mom and pop shops. You're not tier 1, tier 2 the next 5 years. You're pretty much done, I think.
And that's
right.
And that's an odd one for me too. Is the tier 1, tier 2, because it doesn't work like I always thought it did. It's because some of your carriers, despite even if you only have one crew, at your disposal, you can be labeled as a tier 1, I guess, because it's how the carrier sees you. You've got so if a lot of them run off carrier scorecards. So if you sit somewhere between mid 8s and 10 with some of these guys, from what I've seen and been told, that you could be a tier 1, tier 2 vendor with them because you were a preferred company. Now, I think a lot of that was gone by the wayside, because there are a lot of companies that we've seen, they don't want to pay 125 different vendors. They want to pay 3 to 5, and that's where you kind of have your. I mean, it's not really turf, but it is. So it's different in some ways, same in others. But I'm really confused on the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
Oh yeah. Yep. And I'm just going off what I've been told and whatnot. And obviously with me and my company, we're changing up everything. We're redoing everything. We're going more toward consulting and safety and training again. So I don't know. It's there's too many hands in the cookie jar anymore. We spoke about this on the last couple podcasts ago, like the costs of what things back in the day, plumb attention back in the day, what it costs and what it costs now. You're lucky to get. It's shocking. Even with companies not doing plumb intentions, or a lot of companies doing microwave and stuff like that, like guy wire change outs, because all the extra, stuff with the 1048 that's involved with that now.
Who's winning on these plumb intentions? No one's winning on these plumb intentions. These things turn into a witch hunt. And you and I have discussed this, but I'm going to roll back through it again, because now you got me fired up again. What do you measure your guy wires at?
Oh,
as far as temperature, do you use the actual temperature? Do you use real feel?
Mm-hmm.
Do you use an infrared? Because now you got 3 different temperature measurements. Do you use infrared? And when you do use infrared, are you using it on the top of the guy wire where the sun's hitting it directly? Are you putting it on the side? Are you putting it on the bottom? Are you taking 8 different measurements and taking an average of the 8 and going from there? Let's just say you did it the right way, whatever that might be. Whatever whoever says it is right now the right way, you're doing it absolutely right. Are you positive that the guy that's going to come through there and third party you, or be your next plumb intention a year, 2 years, 3 years later, are you sure he's going to use the same means of finding the actual temperature of those guy wires as you are. And it doesn't seem like it's a big deal. But if you're dealing with a small level 1 guy wire, it is not hard to be 20, 30, 40% out of tension.
Oh, you know the story with me and Train when
Dude,
we finished that plummet tension up, and then the third party came to check everything out,
use that,
and it said right there in the drawings, no quick check, no
pin and
has to be
wedge.
done this way, yeah, all that stuff. And they're like, oh, we don't have that. We're approved to use this, but it doesn't say in that drawing. So obviously we're gonna have two different measurements.
Obviously.
And so
because it's not a load cell.
Exactly. I complain, I bitch, and they're like, well, I'm like, it says right here in the fucking drawings. No quick check. But here we are arguing with these people that their quick checks approved. So why aren't we allowed? Like, hello, kettle, makes no sense,
Right.
We fly everything. That's their excuse. They fly everything.
I like the quick checks because of the speed, but take it from a guy, and I've had you with me, and you've been on your own, and you've seen the difference between the load cell and the pin and wedge, and it is not. And I could get like Scott Kisting. I know if I spoke to him today, he'd say it because he's a smart dude. He's a smart dude, and I think he's the first one that ever turned me on to that years ago. I think. But he's right, like in the saber drawings, he's right. It says it right there. Must be. And when I see must usually means to me has to be.
Yeah. But when the third party says, "Oh, we're approved for this," but I asked him straight up, like, do you have any documentation on this? Because from what they were reading and what we were reading was 700 pounds difference. So it made no sense.
That's not even close to being a shock to me.
No. And it's like, well, according to us, we're good. According to you, you're not.
On the 5/8 wire.
And I'm like, how you have a standard on how far off the preform you have to go off the preform to get an accurate reading with the quick check?
3 feet, they say.
Oh, they said no, we can. They were going right there up like 6 inches off the preform.
They used to say 3 feet
because they didn't bring a ladder with them. They flew everything in.
So I don't remember where I was going to go with this. So okay, 5/8 wire. I remember I had a site. I had a site in Nebraska somewhere, and we had the third-party crew come in with a quick check. Again, should not have been used. It even says it on the drawing, and I brought the drawings and showed them. They didn't care, but they used the quick check. I had a load cell with me. I had a dynamometer on me, and they're reading off the quick. Oh, actually, I had both with me. So the reading between the dynamometer and their quick check was a 1,400 pound difference on a 5/8 wire. Saber guy tower.
Like torque arm or just single pull? Like
single pull. Yeah. But when we measured so in their defense, hold on. So here's a better one. In our defense, or in its defense, we stuck our Dillon quick check on, and they threw theirs on. This one's going to really get you, okay? So we threw ours on, and we measured a lot closer to what their Dillon was, what their quick check was. But here's the other big deal. Their quick check had nothing but large shivs on it. The three that we would swap out.
Yeah.
They had nothing but large shivs on it. Ours moving to the 5/8, you go to the smaller shivs.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, don't you have to swap your shivs out like we do? Because we were moving from the bottom up.
Yeah.
And he said, no. And so I said, can I see your quick check? Now it was calibrated. It was calibrated for the larger shivs, apparently. But and I get that, someone's going to say, well, it's calibrated for that. But why would you have one? I mean, why would the Dillon Corporation make you go through the pain in the ass? And we had a newer version. Ours was a newer one compared to theirs.
Yeah.
But why would Dillon make you go through the pain in the ass of swapping those stupid shivs out? Because it takes at least 5 minutes to do it. I mean, it's not a hard
Process,
deal,
yeah.
but you just got to
Yeah.
whip them out and put them back in. But
Then
it gets to be a
guys
pain in the
drop
ass
them on
when
the
you,
ground. They
well, but it gets to be a pain in the ass when you go to the next level, it's torque level, and now you got to go back to the smaller shifts again. But he didn't. He used the same size shifts, and looking at the thing there, his didn't even have a, how ours would show the P shiv, T shiv,
Mhm.
and it would say, once you surpass, once you move to the 9/16 or whatever, you move to the smaller shiv. His didn't even have that option. So now we've got two different style pin and wedges, and we've got the load cell. None of the three even matched up with one another. And here's the other big deal. Here's three of us. Here's the three pieces of equipment. Here's the two of us agreeing on an air temperature.
hold on.
So you see where I'm going with this. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so now let's say your company got 50 of these to do.
Mhm.
And you ran around and did 50 of these. And this third-party company came by, wrong piece of equipment, of test equipment, number one. And number two, we're not sure if they're even measuring, apples to apples as far as how they're getting their temperature on the wire. Air temperature, real feel. If they're measuring it with the infrared, if they're measuring top of the guy wire, side of the guy wire, bottom of the guy wire, if they're taking an average of all four, whatever.
Wind speeds, what's the direction of the winds, all that stuff, everything.
Well, I mean, that's supposed to stay pretty consistent, but I guess what I'm saying is you get a recipe for a witch hunt. So I hear about these guys getting pinched on these plummet tensions, and all I got to say is have your ducks in a row. Make sure you're using the appropriate equipment to do them, and for God's sakes, maybe even take a picture of the temperature when you use the infrared thermometer. And I didn't do that. Sometimes I did that, but I didn't do it all the time. And I wish to God that I did all the time, just for the simple fact that when my paperwork got turned in, and if somebody else did it or if third party came through, they could see everything I did, and not to mention, I think the big deal is too, is talking about how many turns you went up on a turnbuckle, or the adjustments, or did you have to put in a new preform?
Yeah.
But I think along with that, okay, you came up an extra 750 pounds, to get it within your 10%. How many turns on the turnbuckle was that? Just be kind of nice to know, Does it help out any? No, but it gives you an idea of what you've done to get to that point.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. It's just correct. Yeah, like we were going back to it. Like, it's just crazy, like how much this industry has changed, and how more safety oriented and safety conscious people have gotten, and people still complain about, I gotta get this now. I gotta get this training, because I have to, be in compliance with the carrier. Well, if back in the day when you were starting out this industry, instead of being a jackass the whole time and fucking off.
I got one more for you.
Yeah.
So you're one of the better people I know talking about rigging plans.
Yeah.
What rigging plan do you fill out for a plummet tension?
To me, it'd be a class 4 because you're destabilizing the tower.
Okay. Do you let's not talk legal or not legal, but right now, if you get awarded a plummet tension tomorrow, are you submitting a class 4?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's and that's no way. And to be honest with you, that's what I'd say off the top of my head, but I don't know if I'm correct. because in my eyes, well, technically, you're not taking anything apart. You're just plumbing. So there's still
Are you sure?
still attached.
Hopefully,
if the turnbuckle comes off, the preform comes off, then you're definitely a class 4. You have to be, but you could be no, you're a class 4. You're destabilizing the tower.
You're either way. Even though, okay, so you got your pin.
Yeah,
and your pin, your pin is safety. So to me, I don't see how the plumb intentions fall any different than anything else. You're still talking, you're still using cables, you're using a system, and right now you've left no information on what shackles you're using, what piece of machinery you're using. Are you using a motor hoist? Are you using a jet puller? Are you using a ratchet? What are you using to get this thing?
You know what? I'm gonna do some research on this one because I know it's out there. I gotta find out a definite answer because
you got my answer because
you got my brain spinning now.
Dude, I've done a shit ton of plumb intentions.
Oh, I have too.
And I think as far as straightening the tower, I'm a pretty good guy at doing that.
You are. You taught me. But damn good at it.
But here you go. I know I've been away from the game a little bit, but I don't know of anything. Even when we submitted rigging plans, which has been a while now, I don't remember ever having to submit one, and I never knew why.
Yeah.
Now let's dive even deeper here, because to me, if I was in charge of this, if this was my tower, I would want to know what means you're doing this with. Not, you know what? I don't give a shit if you're using the preforms or a grip. I don't care. I mean, I understand the grips, the dog heads, something could go wrong with them. Yeah. I get that. But I want they missed the most important thing when they said you couldn't use the grips, the dog heads. They missed the most important thing. What are you using to get the tension pulled back on the guy wire? Number one. Number two, what are you anchoring to? You're anchoring to the top of the paddle, if there is room. Are you anchoring to a 6,000-pound sling that is wrapped and getting cut by the corners of the paddle? Are you rigging to your truck? Are you rigging to a tractor, a skid loader? What are you rigging to?
Yeah.
And you and a lot of these guys have looked up to me, and I appreciate it, as far as how, what, and why doing plumb intentions. But I'm telling you, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know. This is a big deal here.
This is interesting. Yeah, I brought this up too with a couple people. They asked about why they do tech guy wires and stuff. I'm like, I remember doing a hub site for USL, and we were changing out guy wires. And there's 11 dishes on that tower or whatever. If we dropped one, we kill everything pretty much. We actually got a better DB. Didn't use tech guy wires. Put everything in at the same time, pull everything back out at the same time. We're very, conscious of how many clicks we're going, what our initial tensions were.
Well, come on.
Yeah.
Look at these anchors too. You're just hoping somebody's put these anchors in at your 44 degrees or whatever. And once the ground settles, I mean, what's going on with your tower now? Once the wind affects it, the biggest thing that I've seen affect these towers even more than wind has been flooding. The water traveling by the anchors and pushing the ground on the side of the neck of the anchor.
Or if you're in the south, like Texas area, a lot of fracking. Where high fracking areas are,
but
South Dakota, North Dakota, fracking areas.
But you're talking the same thing, that I'm talking about.
pH levels in the soil change.
I think, they've had that. As far as the pH levels, I learned that a long time ago. There's been people that have had a lot more knowledge than I have, and that I'm not very smart on that, but I do understand. What the soil does to the steel. but I mean, just as far as pushing on those things, the flooding, that's what I've seen a lot of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be more than curious to find out what you find
Oh,
out
no.
on these anchors.
Yeah, I'm doing some research. Need to do some digging, add calls, make some calls and stuff, because it would make sense that it'd be a class 4. You're destabilizing the tower, or possibly changing, guy wires out or preforms, anything like that.
You're pulling on the tower.
Yeah, yeah,
You're pulling on the rigging of the tower.
yeah.
So
I've never filled out a rigging plan for a phone section ever.
well, no,
Never been asked to.
neither have I. But what I'm saying is, and I've wondered this again. I wondered this for a while. Why? You know, you're one of the best safety guys I've ever seen, and I'm sure you're going to come back to me with some sort of answer that somebody tells you. But I just want you to be prepared. I won't be satisfied with anything other than the fact that it should be an absolute.
I question everything now anymore. Like, I have to get an answer from one guy. I go to another guy in the industry that's a complete polar opposite of this other guy, and ask him. I've always asked, where's my broadcast guy at? Let's ask him. Where's my telecom guy at? Let's ask him. Where's my hardcore carrier guy at? Let's ask him. Let's find a guy who does nothing but stacking, implement tension, and mods. Let's ask him. Then you got to finally ask, your Nate people or NBSA or IRAP.
So with me, with all the implement tensions you've done with me, you don't have to be explicit and say, which one or whatever. But if you've ever been worried about the type of rigging that was on that we used on a machine or on the next of those anchors, whether it was going to do damage to the other turnbuckles, whether you're going to get into one too hard, bend something. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely. 100%.
Yeah.
I always didn't like, what I always didn't like is, when we wrap around the shaft, around the fan head, steel chokers, we do, who knows how many plummet tensions or whatever on those chokers. Once you take those would be brand new chokers, use them once. You take them off, everything, they're deformed, they're bird caged, and no one will replace them. I've always brought that up. Why don't we replace these things?
I did a lot.
I did too.
Yeah, I did a lot.
When I got put in a position where I could do that, I always did.
I threw more steel slings, and with the gin pole on our stacks with the gin pole, if A-Train was here, he'd be able to tell you, but I used to buy brand new, almost every time.
Yeah. 100%, you don't know.
Well, and we used to trade them out quite a bit too,
Yeah.
But especially when they sit there, if they sat there for more than a day, Train was adamant that we swapped out the maybe not the bottom chokes, but the slings up top for the kick out, and for the jump block.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to tell you about this. When was this? I think it was like a month ago. I had some kid. He was talking about, I asked, like, what he did in the industry. He's like, oh, I've done it all, done it all. And I'm like, okay, cool, right on. And you see him put the safeties in on the guy wires. They're not figure eighted. There's only one little wire clip on, whatever. And I asked him, you know what these are for? He's like, oh yeah, that's if the something snaps, it catches it. I'm like, so you mean to tell me that I have 5,000 pounds on this wire?
The 3/8 wire is
and
going to
if
hang on.
if it snaps, it's 3/8 wire, one wire clip's going to hold on to it. Well, yeah, I should.
Or 5/16. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, no. Like, well, that's where you're wrong. Well, that's what I've been told. I'm like, okay, well, obviously you've been trained wrong. I'm like, and I explained to him, it's about the vibration, turnbuckles, so they don't spin open, all that stuff. You got harmonics and stuff. And he's like, oh, that makes sense. I'm like, that's why it has to be figured eight like this and gone through both sides and all that. He's like, okay, yeah. He understood it after that. But shit, I don't know how many times I've heard that about, well, it's just if it snaps, safety, it holds on to it, holds it back from, from going completely to the tower. Like,
No. No.
but they do safeties. Like, you're going to leave a come along on a tower overnight. They do suggest, a safety, back around something to hold it in case that, that slip grip on the pork chop comes apart or something like that, or the come along comes apart.
But see, you're not supposed to even use those anymore.
Yeah.
Which,
How many people still use them?
well,
Everybody still uses them. You know that.
out of crown catches you.
Oh, shut up. Game over, son. Game over.
Well, there's a lot of imperfections to this industry. It's not it's not the wild west anymore, but it kind of still is in some ways.
And that's why we're here, like, let's talk about this stuff. Let's get, let's do the live podcast, and let's do the other things, and let's get some conversation, It's,
yeah, let's do it.
The only thing that sucks about it, the only thing that sucks about this, about doing a live podcast, and we talked about this, is you get those little fucking man-childs out there that want to have some smart ass remark just to, my dick's bigger than yours, or whatever else, Don't bother. We'll bury you. We will drop some knowledge bombs. If I have to, I'll get Rick Ledford, Kathy Gill, and JP Jones on this motherfucker, and we'll destroy you.
Yeah, well, it's also been a good podcast. I would like to I would like to get on one of our next ones and discuss gym pole.
Yeah.
And a little bit of, I know it's not used a lot anymore, but we got some pretty good stories. Got some horror stories. Got some what I would do if I type deals, and I've got my own theory as far as running the winch, jumping the pole, and I think we ought to have. It would be nice to have a an hour-long one and discuss that.
Yeah.
But I would also like to. I think we'll do that out in the field if we can possibly do it.
Yeah, I'll try to set it up. But yeah, I'm gonna do some research about the rigging plan on that. That's I'll bust that one out quick.
Yeah,
but I'll get back to you on that and let you know.
I don't even want you to get back with me on. I want you to get back with me on it on one of our podcasts here. I want you to surprise the shit out of me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. I will keep it to myself until the next podcast, and we'll bust it out.
Right.
Sounds
so
good?
everybody, yeah. So Towerhand Happy Hour gmail.com. Make sure you hit us up. We're talking about going live here pretty soon, which is going to put us back on a weekly schedule to go live, and we'll have more on that probably at the end of the week. And episode 9, Towerhand Happy Hour. Chad,
I'm Boone. Y'all stay safe out there.
Love you guys. See ya.